Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to another episode of Sigh of Relief. I am your host, Tony, and joining me is my amazing co-host, Kaya. Kaya, what's going on?
Not a lot. I just walked in the house from the heat outside. I don't know
Yep,
how hot it is where you are, but it is blazing outside. Speaking
yeah.
of, I forgot to put my yogurt in the fridge. It is melting
You may
currently,
want to go.
but
You
it's
may want to
fine.
go do that while I do the intro. You may want to go do that while I do the intro. So while
It's all
Kaya
good.
oh, you gonna wait? Okay. So
I'm going to just
you
wait it
sure?
out.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
it's all good.
you're not gonna have yogurt. You're gonna have milk. That's what you're gonna have. You're gonna have milk.
I'm going to just throw it
So,
away.
yeah. So I'm looking at the weather right now. It's 94 degrees today. Uh,
It's
it looks.
toasty.
Oh, it's 92 degrees already. Oh my God,
Yeah,
it's
it's
hot.
toasty.
So yeah,
It's real toasty.
yep. So we have a pretty good show today. We're gonna talk about Jeff Bezos's big delivery. Uh, talk about a flock of geese that have taken over a town. We're gonna get into this whole TSA Costco card stuff that's going around social media. I don't know if you heard about that. And we're also going to end the episode on talking about Halle Berry. I know you sent me an article yeah, about Halle Berry's uh, uh, situationship that's going on. So it seems like everybody's in a situationship right now. So we're going to talk about
Hey,
Halle Berry's situationship. So before we get started, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. This is our 20 episode
I
anniversary.
was going to say
So
more than 10.
our 20 episode anniversary. So things are moving
Woo!
along. So I think that's about what 10 weeks. So look, we made it through a
Yeah, 10
whole
weeks.
little
Wow.
college semester so far.
Uh,
Um, so like I said, all the engagement matters. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And as you guys know, we have a whole get to know the creators series where we asking each other's questions back and forth, so you guys can get to know us, and we can share bits and pieces of who we are. But before we get into that, how was your weekend? I know it's day party season, so I'm pretty sure you were outside this weekend.
Actually, I have not been outside. Well, not outside in that way all weekend. This
Mhm,
weekend, I've just been working out. I did two
mhm.
group classes yesterday.
Nice.
Today, I went and got my hair braided, been running
Okay, I see you.
errands.
I see you. Ready for hot
Yeah,
girl summer? Hair braids. Ready for the
you know,
pool?
you know. But I feel like I've had to be an adult all weekend, which is
Mhm,
kind of unfortunate. The next few weekends will be consumed in,
mhm,
yeah, traveling,
mhm.
running errands. I really have nothing fun planned. So I'm going to
Okay,
have to live
nice.
vicariously through you and hope that you're doing something fun. I hope.
Well, I don't. Can you hear the dryer in the background running?
No.
Good, because that's the type of fun
Oh,
I'm
you're
on
being an adult
this
too.
weekend. So
Okay.
I'm surprised. Look. I normally make sure I turn everything off so there's no humming, but as long as you don't hear it, um, matter of fact, let
I
me go
don't hear
turn it off.
anything.
I'm gonna turn it off just to be sure. Let me mute myself.
You literally don't hear anything, but you are just a worrywart. Now I'm looking to see if I even brought in my yogurt that's melting away. It shouldn't be too bad.
Yep. So the thing about the yogurt, you can return stuff to the grocery stores. I've done it in the past where I've purchased something and I let it go bad. I'm like, you know what? Let me return this. I don't throw
Oh,
it in the garbage. I take it right back. They don't care.
okay. Well, I done ate half the bag already. This is something that I took for a snack while I was getting my hair
Mhm.
braided, and it melted in
Okay.
my car while I ran to the grocery store because it's
Oh
100
my God.
degrees outside.
So did it
Yeah,
take you 6 hours to get your hair done or 12 hours? Because I know women they have these salon dates and it takes forever.
literally. Shockingly, it only took 4.5. She was not playing. She did very good. I
Four
know.
and
So the
a half
next
hours.
time you want to complain about, I got to pay $40 to get my hair tapered every 2 weeks,
I
think
gotta pay
about the
seventy
time we
dollars. I
spent.
gotta pay $70 to get my hair tapered. Not even every 2 weeks, every week. Um,
Oh, that is kind of pricey though.
yeah, every week.
That's pricey.
When I was like 8, 9 years old, I can go 2 weeks without a haircut. Now, like the facial hair comes in, as you can see, starting to.
I don't know why you don't just let it grow out, but hey,
No,
I'm just
no.
gonna be quiet
Yeah.
and let
Yeah,
you do your thing.
my family says the same thing every time they see me. Like I'm usually clean shaven. Right now I have a mustache. And my mom says, "Why don't you grow your hair out?" Then she starts comparing me to her husband. Oh, I like when he grows his hair. I'm like, look, I'm not your husband. I'm not growing my hair
It's
out.
a different switch up though. I feel like you get different sides of a man depending on how his facial hair is.
So,
Just try it. I'm just
so
saying.
this is the switch up for the next probably 48
The
hours.
next
I
year,
was thinking, no, I was thinking about cutting it
uh,
this weekend. So not this weekend, but going to the barbershop on Tuesday and going back
just
to
the sides, not your. Because I know you working hard on your rodeo mustache.
yeah, yeah. I call it.
Okay,
It's gonna be like a cop stash, like 80s cops. I
I'm
had it.
calling it rodeo.
Okay, rodeo. Okay, we can go with that. Houston rodeo stash. Um,
Mm,
I had full facial hair during COVID. As you know, the barbershops are closed.
yeah,
So,
that's fair.
I had all of this. It was itching. It was long. So I
Then
let
you
it grow. But
transform when you went back to the barber for the first time. You probably didn't even
yeah.
recognize your own self.
Yeah, I didn't recognize myself. I kept looking in the mirror like, who is this? So I had to get used to myself. So, but yeah, so you
So
were adulting this weekend. Did you have any good food? Did you go out to eat or were you cooking?
no, so I am when I'm like locked in and I'm like
Mhm.
working out. I really do try to focus on eating as
Okay, good,
healthy as possible. So I
good,
actually
good.
ate at home.
Mhm.
What did I? My little splurge was I had some tacos that I made, but that's not really a
Okay.
splurge. I made it with
Right,
chicken, so
right. Well, we just talked about our parents and the five go-to meals,
yep.
and taco was one of them. So I see you're getting ready for doing
About future baby kids. Yeah.
the same thing they're doing, cooking five meals.
Yep.
Chicken, let me see. You could have probably used some cauliflower instead.
No, no.
You want to eat healthy? Get you
And
some cauliflower
tacos?
taco.
No. Chicken is very
Mhm.
healthy. No, I rarely make tacos at my house. So I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh my gosh, that sounds good. I haven't had that in a minute." And it was wonderful. You could actually make tacos. Tacos are easy.
Yeah, I
It's a
can make
10-minute
tacos.
meal. Okay, maybe
Just
like 20, but
go on here and be like, "Doot, doot, doot, tacos," and the tacos are gonna be in my door.
no, you could make some homemade tacos. Easy. Easy
They're
peasy.
gonna be made in somebody's house, but they're not gonna be made in
Okay.
my house.
But not yours. All right.
Yeah,
I'm always
I just spoke.
trying to persuade you,
Right,
but
I just spoke to my mom yesterday, and I was telling her. She started asking me when I'm coming home. I said, "When are you cooking? When are you gonna have a barbecue?" And she said, I'm not doing anything for the fourth." I
does
said,
she
"Why don't you commit?"
barbecue?
She her husband can barbecue. The family can barbecue. Just bring the people together, and I'll come for some food. But if you're not
Or why
cooking,
don't you go and help and you will figure out how to barbecue? So then you could go there occasionally, throw down on
mhm,
the grill, come back home. Come back home. I mean, I'm just saying. Why they got to do all the work?
I'm a guest, so I know
Uh,
how it is
You
being a
are
guest. You
not a
don't want to.
guest in your mom's home.
If I don't have a bedroom, I'm a guest. So,
Okay. I
do you
don't have
have
a
a
bedroom at my parents' home. At my
well,
parents'
you a
house, I'm not a
guest? You
guest.
a guest? Make sure you don't
I
cook
don't
when you go over
consider
there.
myself a guest up over
Well,
there. I know
I'm
I'm
a,
not a guest over there.
they treat me like I'm a guest, so I just do my role and become a guest and enjoy the food, the conversations, the love, and the family. So
Okay. I've never heard somebody say they was a guest in their parents' house, but okay.
yeah, it's not my house, so I'm a guest. So two questions. I know you like to go first, so I'll let you go
Who went
first.
first the last time?
You did because you like to go. Ladies go first. You like to go first,
I
so
asked
I
my
don't know.
question, or you asked me a
You
question.
asked your question last week first.
Oh, okay. So you asking me first this time.
You want me to ask first?
Okay. Yeah,
I
go
can
ahead.
go. Let me see. So
I don't know. I'm a little nervous.
don't be nervous. So you told me about your childhood. You told me about some of the high school stuff. Tell me about what was your experience leaving your parents' house, as we just talked about parents. Like, what was your experience leaving home? Did you have an anxiety? Were you stressed out? How was that transition? Because I know everybody's transition is not the same. Like my transition,
Hmm.
it was difficult at times due to the finances. How was your transition getting out of home? And when you did get out of the home, how often did you go back?
Okay. Well, y'all know I like to keep it real, so that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Um,
Please
for
do
me,
it.
leaving for me, leaving home was like, thank you, Jesus.
Mhm,
I went to school like a
mhm,
4-hour drive from my parents' home.
mhm,
And I knew my parents, they both worked. Obviously,
mhm,
I had my younger siblings. I knew they was gonna come to visit me. So I intentionally chose somewhere that was a little bit further.
mhm,
Um, and they drove me to school the first,
mhm.
day, packed up all my stuff and got me over there. And I think we took everything out the car. They helped me bring it in the dorm, and they were like, "Okay, we got to hit the road, Jack." And
They were
I
gone.
do remember that, yeah, they were gone. I don't think we unpacked boxes, decorated, did any of that. And not that my parents weren't loving or anything like that. I think that, they just have jobs and they were consumed in that, like providing for a household, right?
Mhm,
Um, so for me, I think I was just ready to be doing my own thing and having my own rules. I do remember my younger sibling, who she's the one that I'm going back home to go to her graduation. I remember she was crying a lot and I was crying a lot because I was obviously sad to leave her.
yeah. Well,
And my sister,
she gonna be living right in your apartment after graduation. So
hey, maybe you never
yeah.
know. But I think that was really the most emotional part. Outside of that, I was ready for it, and I loved my undergrad experience. I loved college, and I moved into the dorms with one of my friends who I had my first job with. So
Oh,
it was like I
nice.
knew somebody already there, and she
Was it
had
the
friends from
I wasn't gonna ask, was it the delivery man, but you said she. So
what delivery man?
from your first job, or what I think your
Delivery.
first job is.
I told
But
you what
go
my first
ahead.
job is.
Yeah, that's why. Don't worry about it. Just keep going.
Okay. But to make a long story longer, yeah, I was ready for it. I went home. I would go home for like holidays whenever I could hitch a ride because I didn't get a car until I was like 20, I think. So when I was 18, 19, I would always have to be like, "Oh, are you going home? Okay, can I ride with you? Can I get you
Yeah, right.
$20 for gas?" So I
Or
would go
$20
home
meant
those.
something for gas.
It did. It really did. Especially when you have four people in a car giving $20. Oh, you was
Yeah.
making
Oh yeah.
commission off that.
Yeah.
um, yeah, and my parents let them tell the story. They came to
Mhm.
visit once a quarter. They came to visit me when I was in college, maybe one or two times the whole 4 or 5 years I was there. So,
I didn't get a visit
I,
until graduation.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
yes, and that's what I told my parents. I was like, "Y'all only came for graduation." They're like, "No, we didn't." I'm like, "No, you did. Where did you stay?" "Oh, we don't remember because you didn't stay anywhere."
Right.
So yeah, that was for me. It was no issue with me. I was doing my thing, so I honestly didn't really care. But
Mhm.
yeah, that kind of sums it
So,
up.
so how like what month did you leave? Like in August, September?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so how was it for Christmas? Did you go back home for Christmas?
Yes, most Christmases I did go back home and I
Okay.
would stay at their house. There were a couple times when whoever I drove with, I would stay at their house like for a night and then they would
Mhm.
drop me off where I live, just which goes to kind of show like my parents wouldn't be like, "Oh, I'll meet you in Seattle and pick you up." I literally had to find my way all the way to their
That's
house.
crazy.
So
That's crazy.
yeah, yeah.
So how many? I think you just said it. How far was like your friend's house to like your parents' house?
So I remember vividly I had one friend who like actually lived in Seattle and most of the time she would be the one who would drive back home. She had a car and she was super, super nice. So I would drive back with her frequently. So about 30 to 40 minutes, just
Okay.
depending on traffic. So not far at all.
Okay. Yeah. So, depends on what city, because certain cities, 30 minutes, people are like, I ain't going that far. It's 30
Yeah.
minutes. That's far. Uh, but that's what's up. Man, I know it's not my question, but when I left home at 20. I went home for that first Thanksgiving, for that first Christmas, for that first summer. And I kind of like stopped going back.
And it started to dwindle down once you. So
Yeah.
my question to you is, did you live in the dorms your first year or two, and then you probably transitioned to
Yeah.
like apartments, right? And then it
Yeah.
really stopped. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once I
Same.
was able to like have like a setup the way most apartments are set up, like I
Right.
stopped going back. And then I start discovering like every time I went back home, like it was the same,
It wasn't
like
nothing
it
to
was
do.
nothing new. It was nothing
Yeah.
new. Like
Nothing
nothing
new,
new.
nothing to do. Yeah.
Nothing new. And it's like, yo, I'm just sitting in somebody's house watching TV. Like, what's going on? Like, it's nothing new.
Yeah.
Of course,
Agreed.
like when I stop going home as often, like you feel some type of way when you're not home on Christmas, when you're not home for Thanksgiving.
Hmm.
But once you start making friends in other cities, you have a
Yep.
friendsgiving. Like you and I did Thanksgiving, I think what 2 years ago. It's like you
Yep.
just stop. You're just like, I call home, happy birthday, happy Mother's Day, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I ain't coming home.
Yep.
I'm not coming
And
home.
that's the unfortunate truth of it all. You start to make friends with the other people who aren't going home either, and then
And
y'all
it's a
kind of
lot of
link up,
people.
and
It's a
yeah,
lot of
it
people.
is.
It's a lot of
And you
people.
link up with them, and you
A
start
whole
making your own
community.
traditions. Yeah.
Right. Of a
So
whole community. Yeah. When I spoke to my mom yesterday and I asked about cooking, my mom makes this excuse as well. Every time I say, oh, let's get together for the family and let's cook. Oh, I gotta work that day. It's like you don't even know what day I'm gonna say. Like, what you mean you gotta work? Like I said, Ma, let's get together for the fourth. She said, the fourth. Hey, I don't know about that day. I gotta work. I'll see what your cousin cooking. It's like, what are you doing, man? I said, whatever. I said, all right, I'll see you next year. I'll see you next summer. And she started laughing because she know I'm not coming home for Christmas because it's cold. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm not going
Yeah.
somewhere cold for Christmas. Christmas, I'm going south. I'm going somewhere where
You're
it's gonna
trying to
be
be where it's
summer.
warm.
Yeah, it was
Right.
summer. It doesn't have to be a
Yeah.
beach, but it has to be warm. I'm not going home to be. Last time I was in Chicago for Christmas, I think Southwest like grounded all of their flights in the country.
I
And
remember when that happened to you. Yeah.
I'm like, yo, I'm not
Yeah.
going back to Chicago for this.
Yeah.
Like
I would
they
not want to
wanted,
spend
yeah,
Christmas in Chicago.
they wanted me to stay
No
there.
thanks.
Southwest wanted me to stay there a whole nother week, and I'm like, oh no, like I spent like
Goodbye.
$1,000 getting on another flight, and I say, hey man, I'm out of here, man. I ain't got time for this.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to be there. I've gone to Chicago a couple times in January, and that was
Mhm.
enough for me to say I'm not ever moving here. Well, never say
Yeah,
never, but I don't
don't
want
go to
to.
Chicago. Don't go to Chicago after Halloween. Like I remember as a kid, I only remember one warm Halloween where it was warm enough for me to go outside, trick or treat, with a costume only, not a coat
Right.
over a costume, just a costume.
Mhm.
I ain't talking a first down or a down coat on top of Spider Man. You can't. People, who are you, young
Right.
man? You got to take it off like I'm Spider Man. You got a hood on. You got fur on your hood.
Got a full coat. I'm already
Yeah.
knowing. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Nah. Chicago, May, June, July, August, September, summer, October. Get out of there. And within those months, you can see all four seasons. Hell, you may see a fifth season because it may get
Yeah. I
cold.
believe
It
it.
may get cold. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's what's up.
Speaking of, I'm going next week just for a
Okay,
day,
nice,
but
nice,
I'm already
nice.
like, because their weather has been all over the place the last 2 weeks. So I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
get it together. I'm gonna need it to be some sun. It's June. I'm gonna need y'all to get
yeah.
it together.
I can believe it. When I talked to my dad, I think over a week ago, I said, "How was the weather?" He said, "Oh, it's warm here. It's 65 degrees." I said, "That's not warm. I need a coat."
Right. No, we really need a coat for six in the
Yeah,
60s.
yeah. I mean, it's cold. So, but they
Yeah,
like it. 80 degrees. They complaining how hot it is. Meanwhile, I'm
that's
in the
good for.
backyard. I'm in the backyard sitting under the sun talking about some I'm cold because I'm so used to 85 and 90 degrees that anything below
80s
that in the
is
summertime.
perfect for us. That's
Yeah, but
that's
when you're
spring.
close to but when you're close to the lake, it feels
Yeah.
different. It feels a
Oh yeah,
lot
yeah, yeah,
different.
for sure, for sure.
But that's what's up.
Um, but going back to the initial question, I just kind of want to say this little thing. I feel like you live and learn from your parents, and you say the things that, okay, I want to be a little bit different.
Mhm.
And this is no shade to my parents if you ever watch this, but
Yeah. Your
if
mama
my
watching.
kids, right, she may be, but if my parents decide, or my parents, if my future kids decide, I'm gonna go to college, I really want to make it a thing because moving away from home is it's an accomplishment. There's a little
Mhm.
bit of grief mixed in there. I feel like there's a lot that goes into that. And I want to be there and watch them, decorate their room, or I want to help them in that. I maybe want to stay for a couple of days, help acclimate them to the area. Like, I don't want to just shove them out of the car door. If future Tony, if you want to drop him off by teleportation, you go ahead and you do that. But
Nah.
I
I guess
remember
because it may be because you're a girl. I'm not
it
decorate.
is.
Do you really know how much decoration I had on my walls? This amount that's on this wall right here. This
If
white.
it was a boy, I wouldn't be worried about decorating their room. But
Yeah,
I
look,
remember
all you
vividly,
need is a
we
bed and a
had,
TV and Wi-Fi.
okay, maybe, but I
Mhm.
remember there was a girl that was next to me in my roommate's room.
Mhm.
Her dad stayed and he helped her put up her stuff, build her bed. And I remember I was having a hard time like lifting my bed up because you know how in the dorms you can have your bed low or high.
Yeah.
And I was having a tough time and I couldn't like figure it out. And I remember he came in and helped us
Oh,
build our beds and he helped us do some other
oh,
stuff. And I
oh,
have a terrible memory, but I will never forget that because I was just kind of like, I love how her dad stayed there, not only helped her, but helped the other women in the,
yeah,
dorm
yeah,
too. So I would want my future husband to be there to help my daughter unload her boxes, fix up
yeah.
her
I'm glad you said that because
room,
that boy,
build
if he got his
stuff.
son,
And
you
yeah, the
got
boy,
his
I don't
son,
care.
he ain't gonna be like, "Mommy, help me get the bed up."
No, of
Like, he
course
can be like,
not.
figure it out.
He's
I
gonna
mean, I'm gonna
want you to
see.
leave.
Right,
But
exactly. He
girls are
like y'all.
different.
Yeah, y'all can leave. Uh,
Girls are different.
yeah,
So
yeah, and I'm trying to figure out. There were some parents in college that would come often, but they were always like local, meaning they only they were already in a state or they were in a neighboring state. They didn't have to come from across the country. Uh, I wouldn't want my mom
wait, how far
that
were you from school? You were
far.
in a different state.
I was in a
Okay.
different
I
time
wasn't in a
zone.
different state. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I was in a different time zone. But yeah,
But
if
still,
I
I feel
yeah
like
yeah I visit my kids when they want me to visit. If you were part of a sport club or a team, I come watch the game. I'm not about to be hanging around no college campus.
nobody is asking a parent to hang around a college campus, but I do think it's important for your parents to pop in every here and again. You can't come home for Christmas. Okay, I'm gonna come
Mm,
for the weekend. We could, do X, Y, and Z. I think that you are just very
there you go. This out. Here go my parents right
happy.
here. They on the phone. They on the
You're
phone.
happy in solitude, and I
Yeah,
am too. But I do think that it's important. Like, I see parents now, like we're both around the same age, and I see people's parents come in for Christmas to Texas, and they're not staying with them, but they're there. And
that's
I
good.
wish that my
Yeah.
parents came in more often. You know, that's all I'm saying.
I wish they did too, because I got an oven that looked brand new. I don't think anybody used that oven, so I wish they came more
Probably
often
not, knowing
to
you.
to to cook. And some new pots and pans. Come cook.
And to
Come cook.
hang out. Like, I would love to hang out with my parents and show them,
Right.
parts of the
I've been
town.
talking
But
about it for years. I want to see your siblings come visit you, stay for a summer. Now you laughing
okay,
about that. Now you
the whole summer is
a
crazy.
month.
But
I mean, your sister can she a woman. She can stay around a month. Your brother stay around a week, weekend. Weekend's too short, but like a week. Y'all can take them out.
well,
Um,
we'll see if it
yeah.
ever comes
So
into fruition.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, move in. Yeah, bring mom and dad. It also depends on how far the family is coming. Like if the family is going from California to New York, the whole family doesn't need to go. Mom and dad, if you got a sibling or two, they can go. But if it's Baltimore, Maryland to New York, you guys can drive. That may be the last time you guys spend that amount of time, you know, having a kumbaya
I'm
moment
the,
in the car together.
we
So
definitely ain't driving. I drove here to Texas, and I'll never do that drive ever again. But
yeah,
yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens in the future.
well, yeah,
Leaving the door open.
yeah, we'll see. Yeah, invite definitely your sister, since you mentioned that she's graduating. So invite her so she can see how you're moving. Because I don't know how close you are, but to her, but she probably looks up to you. That's the reason why she cried so much when you left the first time.
Yeah, and I'm hopeful. They know that the door is open to them. They work, and they're obviously we're
Mm,
going to school. So hopefully now
right.
they'll will be more time, but we shall
Yeah.
see.
Yeah,
We
and
shall
make
see.
sure the graduation is in a few weeks. So make sure her backflips are good. Make sure her somersaults are
It's this
good.
weekend.
Well,
This
you better make
weekend.
sure she's not a dance,
Her
because when
joints
she
may be
crosses,
rusty.
yeah, she got to dance. So we can talk about her. Um, so
I'll
yeah, you
let you
better hope.
know on Wednesday. Not
All
this
right.
Wednesday, but next Wednesday.
Okay. Okay. Got you. All right. Let me see this question that you've been holding.
It is your turn. Drum
Right.
roll. No, I'm just kidding. Um, so I want to know what you feel like. What? Why are you laughing? It's nothing crazy. It's nothing crazy. I want to know what you feel like your biggest accomplishment to date has been, and what is something that you want to accomplish in the future. Like, what do you think one of your biggest accomplishments will be that you haven't achieved quite yet?
I'm sorry. So when I tapped my earbud, music started playing while you were talking. So
Oh,
can you
I
say
thought
that
that you
again?
was nervous about my question.
Oh no, I'm trying to figure out how you turn this music off.
Okay.
Oh, but go ahead.
So, what has been your biggest accomplishment to date? What do you feel like your biggest accomplishment to date has been? And then, what do you feel like your biggest accomplishment will be in the future? Or what do you want your biggest accomplishment in the future to be that you haven't
Okay.
achieved quite yet?
Okay. Biggest accomplishment so far, I would say, in the same area of what we were just talking about, having the ability to basically leave home at an early age and figure things out uh, really quickly. Uh, Never being in any serious trouble and never needing to rely on my parents to get me out of any trouble. So I would say that's a big accomplishment, because I've seen people leave home and 3 months later they're right back at home because they can't
That's
figure
true.
things out.
That's true.
And not just people in their 20s, but people in their 30s, their 40s, they're still living off their parents. So that's big for me. Biggest accomplishment in the future. What I want to do is like buy a huge, like, or acquire a huge, like, entertainment compound, like a compound that I can use, not personally use,
Like
but
Tyler Perry?
not that big, but something like that, like something like that, something like that, like a compound that can be used for music and movie productions, housing, and I can also live on it. So that's what I want to do.
Okay.
So not Tyler
Okay.
Perry, because from what I understand, like that compound is like an old military base, and that's too much maintenance. But something more in the urban area with a smaller footprint.
Smaller footprint in the sense of just less space. Is that
Land.
what you mean?
Yeah, less
Okay.
space, less land. Yeah. So imagine
Okay.
me. I'm trying to think of an old, like, landmark in Texas. I can't think of any. Uh,
I wouldn't know what you was talking about
yeah,
probably anyway.
yeah. I couldn't think. I can't think of any. But just like acquiring a huge landmark and like converting it to, you know, not Tyler Perry, but a entertainment compound where I can rent out
And this will
space.
obviously Okay, I was gonna say
Yeah.
this would be for other people to utilize
Oh
because
yeah, yeah.
I haven't known you to have a camera in your hand trying to record something.
No,
Okay, so you're
this
not
is the
trying to make
first camera.
movies.
This is the first camera I had in my life.
Okay.
Right. So yeah.
um. Okay. So it definitely sounds like you have
Mhm,
some big stuff that you want to do in the future.
mhm.
What is your timeline for this compound?
Well, once you give me a few 100,000, I can speed up that timeline. But right
Who the
now,
platform?
no, you.
I ain't got it.
Once you give it to me, or you going to a graduation that we can have all that money they're gonna give to your sister, just reach your hand in a little bucket. Be like, I'm gonna get this to Tony for his compound. But
I ain't got it.
no, seriously, I don't have a timeline right now, but it's something I've been thinking about for years. Uh like years. So
Okay. And you would live on it. So
of course.
if Tyler
Of course.
Perry want to rent it out and make one of his crazy eccentric movie
TV
scenes,
shows, yeah, yeah. I've
you're
seen
gonna be
he
waking
got a
up
new one.
to.
He got a new one coming out with I think with some divorced sisters or something like that. I seen the commercial for it.
I don't know what you're talking about, but he did just have a movie come out with Taraji
Mhm,
P Henson. I actually
mhm.
watched it today. It was good. I
Okay.
respect Tyler Perry. I know people have their comments about Tyler
Right.
Perry and
They
his
could have shot
stuff.
that movie. They could have shot that movie in my compound.
They could have in 2 days actually, but I
Right.
respect Tyler Perry. I respect what he does for the community. I mean,
Mhm,
he's one of the best to do it in his own
right.
lane. So that could be
Mhm,
you in the future,
right.
Tony Perry.
Exactly.
I
Tony
mean,
Perry and Antonio Perry. There we go. Right. Yeah, I'm a live there. I'm a live there. I'm gonna have a
that don't
suite
even
that
sound good.
overlooks the compound. Uh and not just movies. You want to get married? We got you. You want to
Okay.
host a graduation, small graduation, not 3,000 people. Uh, yeah, we got you. But a compound.
This gonna be in the U.S. or international?
It's only something
U.S.
too much to be international. But I think, yeah, something, my rodeo mustache, on the front. So yeah, that's what we got. That's what I'm going for.
Okay, I love that. Those are good. So I must ask, and then we can move on. But you said your biggest accomplishment to date has been obviously moving away from home and not going back. Do you
Mhm,
feel like there was ever any point where you were in the multiple places that you have lived? Because I know you've lived all over the US, but
mhm.
were there any points in time where you ever thought that you would go back home, or you were in a tight space where you were like, okay, I need to go back?
Yeah. Um, when I was like probably a year or two removed from like leaving, there was times where like I didn't have any money. Like I looked at my bank account, it was like less than like, $200 in there. And
Yeah,
so I
200. There were times
less
when
than
I had
200.
$7.
I don't know about $7, but I know about probably 125, 150. Uh, and that's because I kept a full-time job, but I still was broke.
I
So yeah, there
had
was times,
three jobs,
damn,
three, and there were times my bank account was negative, negative,
damn. Yeah, I was afraid to go negative because then they're gonna take more money and I'm gonna be even
and they
worse
do.
and be in the red, like really in the red. Not yellow, but so red it's black. It's just bad. Yeah. Uh yeah, I mean, there was times I thought about going home, but I didn't want to seem or I didn't want to look defeated. I didn't want to go back home because I lost this battle. I didn't want that. And
Yeah.
plus,
Hmm.
there was nothing for me to go home to. Nothing. Like I said jokingly
Yeah.
earlier, like the home that my mom lives in, my parents live in, that's not my house. That's not where I grew up at. That's not my community. So I don't have anything to go
Yeah.
home to. So I could not
Hmm.
go home. So I'll feel like, I lost. I mean, imagine
Yeah.
you going back home at your age and your sister graduating and you like, hey, can you move your bed to the left side so I can squeeze my stuff in here? Like you- that, that's that's defeat. I don't want that feeling. I
Yeah.
don't want that feeling. I don't want to have to call home and say, hey mom, can you send me $20? Like, nah.
Yeah.
So
And I do want to say that isn't for anybody who's watching and that is their scenario, definitely not the end of the world. I think that we just
Mhm.
use that as a method to fight a little bit harder and obviously
Right.
go a little bit harder so that we don't have to, or so we didn't
Yeah.
have to go home. But if that is an opportunity for you, obviously,
Yeah.
utilize that if need
Definitely.
be.
Definitely. Like if I had children and my children were college age and they left and go to school and they came back and say, "Hey, we want to live here for 2 years or
That'd be
whatever,"
fine by me.
please move back and save your money and buy a house and
Agreed.
start a business because I didn't have that opportunity.
Same.
Uh,
Yeah.
I didn't have that
Well, I
opportunity.
did.
So
I did,
yeah,
but
nah, man, I'm good. If I went home, they could probably ask me for some money. So I ain't doing that.
facts,
I'm good.
big facts.
Good. I ain't going home. Yeah, and I just try to operate with no. I operate personally with no safety net, so I need to make sure I keep my head above water and not just my head, my whole body. So I
Absolutely.
gotta,
Yeah.
I gotta work.
Well, thanks for answering that. Definitely got a
Yeah,
little more, just a little
right,
more insight into you.
right,
Next week is
right.
gonna be a
See,
little more juicy though.
look, I'm opening up because you didn't even know this stuff. Because I'm Mr. Here and Now.
Yeah.
So well, that's great. So yeah, that was a great segment. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. We're gonna go over some stories that we want to share with you guys so we can give our opinion that we thought they were pretty entertaining. So we want to cover them. So this first story is about Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos had some furniture delivered to his New York City penthouse, but this wasn't a typical freight delivery. That you and I are familiar with. Bezos had his furniture delivered by crane. The crane
Hmm.
appeared to be carrying large pieces of furniture, and it involved closing down Fifth Avenue in New York City to accommodate the heavy machinery. A video was recorded by a local business owner who jokingly compared Bezos's street blocking delivery method to a typical U-Haul or moving company that most people use. And so my question to you is, if you had Bezos's money, what will be your biggest flex when moving something into your house?
My biggest flex, if I had that kind of money, would be I would just have him take the roof off and
No,
just
this is like a high rise, so a penthouse. Like,
yeah, he on the top, right?
yeah, I don't know if they can take the roof off, but go ahead. You got money. You got
Okay.
Bezos
I
money.
right. I'm finna take the roof off and just put you ain't gotta come up no elevator, you ain't gotta
Oh,
scratch my furniture up, you ain't gotta scratch the walls up by the penthouse. Just take
mhm.
the roof off, put the stuff in there. I mean, he could probably own the whole building, I'm assuming, if he wanted
Exactly. He
to.
could.
So
Yeah, he could definitely. He just
so
don't want
why
to deal
not
with the
replace the roof?
liability. He don't want to deal with the insurance, the other the paperwork. So he like, yo, just give me the top floor, and we're gonna
Just
bring in
fair.
a crane. So, and I've seen the pictures of it. You got to check it out after we finish, and the audience, please check it out as well. They blocked down Fifth Avenue in New York, so you know how massive this is to block down the street in New York City to make sure your furniture arrives on time.
So okay, but the crane is lifting stuff up, and are they putting it through his window or putting it through the
I'm not
patio?
sure what they put. I'm not sure what they put it in. They
Okay,
probably had
they're
to.
getting real creative.
Yeah, I've seen large pieces of equipment get delivered. Like one of the buildings near me, well, I saw they were having like a HVAC unit. You know how when you look at the top of an apartment building, they have different like HVAC units.
Yeah.
This building was having HVAC unit delivered by helicopter. Like I just saw a helicopter outside, like dropping equipment on top of a roof, and I'm like, oh wow, like that's boss. Like
The folks got money.
after cranes, we gonna use helicopters. We gonna use
Hey, moving
helicopters.
is hard. I totally understand it. I'm gonna try to make it easy as possible, especially if I got
I
money.
Right, I make it easy by hiring somebody because I the last time I moved,
Say, a
when was the last time I moved?
couple years ago, year
I'm talking
year and
about
a
like
half,
my
two.
stuff. I'm talking about like my
Oh, okay.
personal stuff. It's been a while.
Maybe 5 years at least. Probably about 5 years for me.
Same,
I,
same.
actually, no. When I first moved to the city I'm in now, I actually moved all that stuff in by myself, but it was only whatever could fit in my car, so it wasn't that much
Mhm.
stuff. But ever since then, I have hired movers because it's just It's too much stress.
It's stressful, and if you move in the summertime, you'll be covered in sweat.
Yeah.
Like,
Or you may
the,
pass out.
man, the last time I moved, it wasn't even my belongings. One of my friends asked me to
I'm not helping
help.
nobody move. I'll give you money before I use my back to move your boxes, and I don't even move my own
Look,
stuff. No.
this man asked me to help him move some stuff around. He picks, I think I met him at his apartment. And so I met him at his apartment. We get in the car and we drive somewhere. And I'm like, where we going? We drive to the apartment of a girl he had literally met 2 weeks
Oh,
prior.
no,
And I'm like,
sorry.
I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, you about to marry this woman? Like,
Or is she
why
moving in
are you?
with you? Would have been my
That's what
question.
I'm thinking. Like, why are you moving this girl? And I'm talking to him because think about this. When we get to the apartment, she's not even there. So we go into an apartment, open the door, and you couldn't even tell this woman was getting ready to move. Nothing was packed. Nothing was like prepared. And I'm like, how you know this girl?
How
When,
long had he known her? Was the real question.
we getting there. We getting there. I'm like,
Okay.
where you meet her at? How long you known her? And you moving her already?
What was the time frame?
It
I'm
was
waiting.
like it was less than a month. It was less than a month.
Wow.
It was less than a month.
Oh, he likes her. That or
He
he's
had me.
gullible.
Oh, let me add this to it. She didn't have an elevator in her building. She didn't have an elevator.
Yeah, ain't no way I'm moving down those
She,
stairs.
the stairs were not wide. They were not straight. They were windy, and it was like an older building. It was narrow. And you know me, I work out a lot.
Where she was moving into, did it have an elevator? No.
She was moving into the same apartment complex he was moving into, but a different unit. So I'm thinking to myself, it's so many red flags in this situation.
Too many. And why he invite you to be a part of it? I would have been mad that you
Because
would be getting cussed out for that.
I'm not gonna go into the details because I
Okay.
still think about this to
That's
this
fair.
day.
That's fair.
There was no AC. There was no elevator.
Oh no.
The seat
They
I
still
sat
together
in,
at least?
no,
Because I know they're not. Okay.
no.
I figured.
The seat I sat in was a leather seat, no AC. It was, I think, look, it was 94 degrees outside that day. That's how hot it was.
Yeah,
And so
that's insane.
you know how people are when you get into their car and they turn the AC on, they lower all the windows.
Mm-hmm.
He turned the AC on, he lowered all the windows, but the AC never got cold. I'm
The
like, what's
AC
going
didn't
on?
work, basically.
Exactly. So that's another story for another day. I can go into this,
It sounds
but
like it.
it's this is one of the
Okay.
stories. Like when I tell people stories about why I don't move, this is one of the major
Yeah.
reasons why I don't move. Like,
I ain't never had a story like that. It to me, it's too affordable to, it's too justifiable to be like, no, I'm gonna save $200 and move by myself. Like,
you can hire some
no,
guys because I always hire guys. They got
yeah.
different rates. If you want $20 an hour guys, they got $20 an hour
Hmm.
guys. If you want
They may
$80 an
steal
hour
some of your
guys,
draws, but
they gonna be taking pictures of your apartment like they're gonna come back and rob it
yep.
later. But if you want $20 an hour help, you can get that. If you want $100 an hour help, you can get that. But of
Yep.
course, with the $100 guys, they're not gonna be around for 8 hours. They're gonna come in quick. They're gonna knock it
Very
out two
fast.
hours
Yeah.
and they're gonna be gone. And then they're so good, you want to give them a tip. You're like, man, you move
Yep.
this that fast, take this extra money.
Wrapped your
But
stuff up. Yeah.
yeah,
Made sure it was good. Worth
yeah.
it. Worth
If
it.
I had to move anything, or if I had Bezos money, I'll probably bring in like a Shark Tank. Like, give me a Shark Tank. like
Okay.
some small
Okay, that's fair.
sharks that's gonna be in my penthouse eating up fish, like something crazy. Yeah,
Okay, that's a good call. I like
yeah,
that.
definitely Shark Tank. Yeah. So check this out. A rare sighting unfolded in New Jersey City as approximately 60 Canada geese, including 8 adults and over 55 gooselings, walked through the downtown streets, halting traffic and drawing huge crowds. Experts explain this such gathering known as a uh, gang brood or gang broods are common amongst geese, and their geese are heavily into their families, so they pretty much stay together. Uh, if you saw 60 geese walking downtown or whatever city you're in downtown, how would you react? Because I saw the pictures of this,
I'm gonna
and
walk the other way.
it wasn't 2 geese, 3 geese, it was 60 geese.
Yeah. I'm gonna walk the other way. Don't they attack people?
Well, I know you got a dog, so you damn. I
I'm
know you
scared
gonna
of
walk the other
all
way.
wildlife. I'm just saying. I feel like I've seen geese attack people, like on the beaches in Florida. Are them geese? Maybe geese. And maybe something else.
And geese
But
or seagulls.
okay, yeah, I think I'm thinking seagulls. But still,
Yeah,
I
if you
feel
got
like
food, yeah.
they both attack you.
Mhm.
I always have products in my hair. They may be attracted to what's in my hair and they want
They may
to
sell
peck me.
strawberries. You may have some
Hey,
strawberry, whatever y'all use, lotion or grease in your head, and they may be attracted to the strawberry lotion in your head.
hey, I'm not trying to have no seagull, pigeon,
Oh
geese,
no, definitely not
whatever,
pigeons.
being on top of my head with their beak. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna just walk the other way. I'm not about to be like the people who want to bust out their phone, taking videos, messing,
right,
being in a space. And no,
right,
I'm gonna
right.
just avoid that.
And I'm pretty sure you've seen like geese walk across like the road where it's like they're all lined up
Hmm.
behind each
Yeah,
other. I can only imagine like you're driving and 60 geese like come out of nowhere and they want to walk,
right,
and you can blow. They're not going to move faster. They're going to
right.
just continue walking.
That
Um,
doesn't mean anything to them. Yeah.
yeah, it means nothing. And you don't want to be the a-hole that hits some baby geese. Like that's not a good look. That's not a good
I've
look.
actually seen a semi truck stop on the highway
Mhm.
for I don't know, a duck and her ducklings. Is that what you call it?
Okay. Yeah, I guess.
Okay. A duck and her ducklings crossing the street. And at first I was mad because I'm like, why would this semi truck stop in the middle of the highway? But then I saw the ducks and I was like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm glad
Right.
you didn't run the whole family over.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
that does happen.
Right. Yeah, there's a mall in Texas, and they have like a pond inside of a mall. And
I
I've
don't
been
know
to
what
this
mall that
mall, and
is.
when you go into the mall, there's a pond in like the center courtyard, and it has like ducks and turtles.
Oh,
And so,
different.
I'm not on social media like that, so I don't be pulling my phone out taking pictures. But I saw these ducks, and I just stopped and I looked at them for 5 minutes. The ducks didn't move. They didn't do anything. I'm like, are these ducks even real? But the ducks
Were they?
eventually moved, and I'm like, oh, they got real ducks in the mall. Real
They
ducks,
probably
real turtles.
bored.
They gotta be bored and flightless ducks, because any duck with common sense is gonna fly out one of these doors given opportunity. But these ducks are just sitting there with turtles.
Yeah. Oh, poor
So
little ducks and
yeah,
turtles.
yeah, freedom ducks.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah. So Kaya, as you know, the federal government has mandated that all Americans must comply with real ID standards in order to fly. This week, the TSA released a statement reminding Americans that Costco membership cards are not a valid form of real ID.
Uh-uh.
Well, it's true. This clarification came after people began spreading rumors online that you can use your Costco card as a form of ID.
Now that's
With
funny.
that being said, have you ever used another form of ID because you left your driver's license at home?
Yeah. I have tried to get away with using multiple things. Debit
Mhm.
card, work ID. What else can you? School ID. What y'all
As an
gonna think?
adult, you still got a school ID?
I had one for a while that didn't have
Okay.
a expiration date on it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's
we had
somewhere in my
those.
house. I don't use it anymore,
Right.
but
Yeah, I still
I
got mine.
did use it.
The, the picture is so faded, and my college ID was so cheaply made that people wouldn't even think
Yeah,
it's real. It's just so it looked like something I made in my house.
that's fair. But I used mine for a minute. Them college subscriptions. Ooh,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
I had them
Yeah.
for a hot while.
Yeah. I wish I still had that college email address because when they were giving it out,
Okay.
well, I was
Yeah.
like, well, I don't want this. I never even checked it when I was in school, but you could definitely get some
Oh,
discounts with that.
well,
Um,
they got smart now. They discontinue it when you leave school. So
yeah,
you can't
yeah,
even use it afterwards. But
yeah, definitely,
when we
definitely.
first started, no, you were able to use it for years afterwards. So
Right,
that was
right.
a nice little perk.
Yeah, this is pre real ID. This post 9/11. I remember going to the airport with no form of ID, and this was probably
Was I
like
traveling?
10 years ago. 10 years ago.
Traveling
This is
with no
I
ID.
was
I
in
don't remember ever going to the
yeah.
airport without an ID ever.
This was about 10 years ago. So this is before the security standards was. I think this is before they was like patting you down and touching
Hmm.
all over you and scanning everything. Like I went there and I'm like, yeah, I don't have no ID. And they say, do you have anything with your name on it? I showed them an insurance card with like medical insurance. They said go ahead, man. They
Oh
got
wow.
me on. I mean,
Yeah, that's
I mean, for
crazy.
a while, I didn't have any ID. About 2 years, I didn't
Yeah.
have a driver's license. I didn't have an ID. My ID had expired, and nobody really bothered me.
I guess when you think about it though, like think of any other mode of transportation. They're not
Mhm,
checking your ID either. You have a ticket. As long as you have a
mhm,
ticket, then you get on. Unfortunately, now we just view flying as being something that can turn very dangerous very quickly, and
mhm.
not because of the mode of transportation, but because of the people on it. So, I
Right.
mean, it makes sense why they would not have asked for it pre 9/11. So,
No, no, this post 9/11, but I wasn't flying pre
oh, they
9/11.
let you on post 9/11 with, oh, that person needs to be fired.
But yeah, imagine like I was really young and
So,
I looked
you could have been a
non-threatening.
mule.
So
I don't know
yeah,
about that,
but this
but
this years ago
anybody
though.
looks
This is
threatening.
before I had my cowboy stash. So now I got my rodeo stash. They may be like, we need two forms of ID. So
Okay. I think anybody looks incriminating. No matter, you could be
right.
nice as pie.
Yeah, they let me on. I had a cousin that tried to get on the airplane. What year was this? This is probably 2012. I think he got on the airplane. He was an adult with no form of ID. So
Well, I have heard of people, obviously in present day, but because they're working on rolling out the biometrics, so they'll
yeah,
just scan your face if you don't have your ID, which that makes
yeah.
sense to me. They have everybody's facial recognitions and systems now, but
Oh, they did that to me when I was coming home a few weeks ago. They had a machine and they were taking people's pictures and they said, "Hey,"
yep.
they didn't say anything. They had a sign on it and it said something about
Hmm.
this is voluntary, this is whatever, this is not mandatory. But
Yep.
nobody was challenging it. And I was the first person to go up there and say, "I don't want my picture taken." And then the little I think it was a
It's already out there.
yeah, it's already out there, but for this purpose, because it says something on the machine, once we capture the photo, we delete it, which we know is BS. Like, why would you take a picture of something and then delete it immediately? And so I told them I didn't want my photo taken, and I gave them my ID, and I'm like, dude, I don't want my picture in some database that you're going to use to, track me across the United States.
And I think it's more biometrics. I think they're more so comparing it, obviously, your facial features to make sure you are obviously who you say you are.
Yeah.
I've done it. They do it in ORD now where you don't have to bust out any
Mhm,
passport ID, any, like, you don't even need your ticket. You literally just
mhm.
scan your face, walk
Yeah,
through.
and they say it's for your safety, but I doubt Antoine Massey is going through the airport these days, or real criminals, or
No, they
people trying to
are.
cause.
They
They got to
are.
be idiots.
There's
They got to be idiots to do something like that.
the last job I worked, and I'm not going to even go into detail about this, but
Mhm,
the reason why they caught these certain people who should have not been in the airport was from
mhm.
biometrics. They
Yeah.
were obviously using other people's ID and pretending
Yeah.
to be somebody else whom they look like, but the
Mhm.
biometrics picked up. It was like 10 people that
Mhm.
shouldn't have even been in the airport. So
Yeah.
um, I'm not against it personally, but
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Like I said, my cousin tried to board a flight. Well, he did board a flight. I remember my grandmother telling me when she was alive that she received a phone call from the airport asking her to describe this young man who was trying to board an airplane with no luggage and no ID, which sounds sketchy, extremely
very,
sketchy.
very.
Uh, but this was years ago, but it was still funny. My grandmother telling me that story about the airport calling her to describe a young
Yeah,
man. So that's pretty crazy.
always evolving. The
Right.
airport is
Right.
always evolving.
All right. So let's get into our last story. Something you shared with me yesterday. Halle Berry and her partner Van Hunt had their first joint interview on a Today Show this past Wednesday. The couple confirmed that Van Hunt, already proposed to Halle Berry, but she hasn't made a decision yet. During a joint interview, Hunt stated, "I put the proposal out there, but she still hasn't said anything yet. I'm just floating it out there in case she responds." So, how do you feel about Halle Berry making her partner, her boyfriend, whatever she considers, making him wait this long for an answer? And another question: if you had three failed marriages, would you get married again?
Three?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. I think after the second one, I would be done. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
say one failed marriage. I would be like, oh, I never want to get married again. I think that I would still have faith in love.
Mhm.
But three, I don't know. I think the universe is probably trying to tell me
Right.
something. It may
You
be
got to look
time
in the
to
mirror.
wrap it
That's
up.
at that point.
Yeah. But we obviously know too that she's paying child support to one of her spouses, and I mean that can be tough. Like you're worth a lot of money. This person wants to obviously show you that they love you, but
Mm.
you get into another marriage and you become financially responsible for
Mhm.
somebody else again, then yeah, that's going to be frustrating. So I think I see both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
But she also can't be sad if that man wants marriage and he walks away from her because she's not willing to be married again.
Yeah, definitely. And I was reading that, she's paying child support from a previous marriage and a previous kid. So, Halle Berry hasn't been having a lot of success in relationships. And, I feel you. If I've been married three times, that's it. We got to stay partners at this point. We don't
You're
need
going to get to three?
I'm not even gonna get to three. I'm not even
Okay.
gonna get to two. I mean, like after the first one, I'm like, look, I'm divorced. If you want to have a partnership, we can have a partnership. If you want to get married in another country, we can do that, but we're not getting married in the United States. I'm not doing that. We go to Mexico and get married, but we're not getting married in the United States.
I think, I mean, granted, I only want anybody, I think, when they get married, they only want to be married one
Yeah, one time.
But I think some people get married young, or some people get married for the wrong reasons. I've seen that happen.
Yeah,
I would be open to two times, but anything after that is just, I think, overkill for me. I'm not trying to go through three divorces. So yeah, totally understandable that you only want to go through one. I get that too.
mhm. Right, right. Yeah, and I think that child support amount she was paying. I mean, it's a lot to you and I, but you got it like Halle Berry. It wasn't that much.
But who has full custody too? I didn't look into that part. Yeah, it wasn't a lot, but
It wasn't a
I
lot.
don't know.
I mean, it's
Asking,
probably regular people out here paying more money in child support than her. And
I don't know about that.
I mean,
Regular, I don't know.
I think it was like
It
ten
was
thousand
close
a month.
to it was close to 10. I think it was
It wasn't.
8, but
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you
that's
gotta
a pretty
imagine like,
penny.
yeah, but you gotta imagine it's going to the child's well-being, and I mean that's the most important thing. So pay that child
Allegedly.
support. Yeah. Well, pay that child support, Halle Berry. Don't be a deadbeat mother. Put these kids through school. Um, yeah. Why
Uh,
you laughing?
no reason. I guess we're using the same we're trying to keep it even across the board, which I'll let you have that.
Well, I'm just saying it's considering she's a multimillionaire. I'm assuming the kid is probably what 6 or 7 years old since she's been married so many times. 10,000 a month. She's a famous actor. I'm pretty sure she's commanding millions of dollars a movie. $10,000 can go towards private school. $10,000 can go towards room and
Yes,
board.
I'm sure that she pays all of that on her own. I'm sure that she covers the major expenses for the kid. I'm
Yeah,
sure the 8,000 is just for the kid to live the same lifestyle with
yeah, yeah,
his
probably.
father.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, whatever. I don't know what state they did this in, but whatever the judge decided. But typically, as you know, whoever is the bread earner, has to pay spousal support or child support to the other half. So, I mean, that's a
Yeah.
sweet deal. I mean, if I was worth millions of dollars and somebody say, "Oh, just give $10,000 a month for your kid," of course. I mean, I'll give everything for my kid. So, um, why you
Okay.
all this smirking and smiling? You don't want to help the kids?
Nothing. I'm just digging this in my brain. So, because I know we're gonna have another football star or basketball player, somebody in the future we're gonna talk about who got to give up some child support. And
As
just
they
remember,
should, as they
okay,
should,
and just
as they
keep
should,
just keep these same
as they
sentiments.
should. No, 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 no. I mean,
Sentiments.
you agree with what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Okay, so
to an
what's the
extent.
problem?
To an
So
extent.
what do you think should be done? If this was you and you were a millionaire, you're Storm from X-Men, you know,
I
have you
need some more
seen X-Men?
details.
Have you seen
I
X-Men?
have
Okay,
when I
you're
was a
Storm for
kid.
X-Men.
When I was a kid.
Okay. You're Storm for
Um,
X-Men. You're worth, I don't know how much you're worth. I don't really care, but you're worth tons of money. Are you, let's say you and I are married. You're Halle Berry. I'm Halle Berry, husband number 3. We divorce. Uh, I take primary custody, even though we got joint custody. How much money are you willing to fork over for our little X-Men kid?
but I think that's the information that I need because who
I'm
is the
giving you the
ex-husband?
information.
No, but okay. We know
he
that you
he
are
not famous like Halle Berry. He's well known in his
okay.
community, but he's not Halle Berry. So obviously Halle Berry is the breadwinner. That's why she's
Okay.
paying. The bread
Then that's
winner
fair.
typically. So what's the
Then that's
problem?
fair.
You thought
Because
they
it would make a difference to me depending upon who he was. Yeah, because
you
she
thought
could
it
be
was Jeff
married to
Bezos?
not
Jeff
no, I
Bezos
didn't
don't
think
want
it
her
was Jeff
money.
Bezos. But he could be like a famous movie director or he could be famous in his own right.
He could be famous,
Um
but whoever's the breadwinner pays the money to the other half. So if you're Halle Berry,
I said it's fair. I said
okay,
I
thank
think
you,
it's fair.
thank you. So yeah, but we don't know her husband. I mean, I personally don't know her husband,
I don't know
so
him.
so we can assume that he's not uh, well known in our circles, but he's definitely not a bum because if he was a bum, Halle Berry wouldn't even met the guy. She wouldn't even had a marriage with the guy.
Famous women date bum men all the time. But I'm
Where she
also
meet a
curious if
bum
she
at though?
has the club.
Man,
There's
Halle
plenty
Berry
of
like
bums in
60
the
years
club.
old. Why is a 60-year-old at a club?
Well, she on to a whole nother man. This man could have been from 20 years ago. We don't know.
No, no, no. I think he's recent. I think he's her last husband. So I'm assuming the kid is a young kid if they're talking about custody. But yeah, I doubt the guy's a bum. He's probably not as
He probably not a bum.
pop. He's probably not as popping as her. But you know, what would Kaya do?
Hopefully, Kaya never has to go through a divorce.
No, 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 no. Kaya's
I
in Halle
don't want to
Berry's
go through a
shoes.
divorce.
What is Kaya gonna do?
I for damn sure don't want to get no man 10. I don't care if I'm a billionaire. I don't want to give no man $10,000 a month. But do
Yeah,
I
but
want
if
my
you're
kid to live a certain lifestyle? Absolutely.
okay,
So I guess I would swallow my pride and get a
so
man the money.
so you don't think it's so? But it sounds like it's not about the money because you say if you were a billionaire, you think it's about the gender, like the difference between giving a man
No,
money. That's what you said.
no,
That's what you said. That's what you
no.
said.
I don't think any man wants to give a woman 10 that nobody wants to give someone their hard-earned money just because.
But if you have a child with them,
Yes,
so okay,
yes.
put it this way: you and I
That's
have a child
a big
together.
part of it.
I'm Tony Berry, and you whatever that husband's name is. That's you. I'm Tony Berry.
Yeah.
My last X-Men movie, I made $30 million. I have a history of making, a lot of money on my movies. We break up. You're not as well known as me. How should this divorce go in your eyes? If Tony Berry is breaking up from you.
Hand your wallet over.
But you
Hand
just
your
say
check over.
you just said we don't think that this Halle Berry should be giving the money over.
No, I said that she should. I said that nobody willingly wants, and I'm not gonna say willingly, but anybody's gonna be like, dang, I gotta give up $120,000 a year. The only people who probably wouldn't say that is the world's richest man,
So
Jeff Bezos, and some other people. But
yeah, but if you were like, if Tony Berry stayed together with you,
Tony Berry,
you're gonna be spending that money on childcare, education, clothing.
But she's paying. I can guarantee you, she's paying for all of that. You think she's giving him $10,000 and then he's paying for the school? No,
the money goes to the parent. The money just doesn't go to the kid. You can't give a kid 10,000. They don't even know how money works.
I know, but she's probably the one footing the big bills like school, and I'm sure the kid is probably. Let's dig into this more, and then if we find some facts that are worth mentioning.
So Kaya don't want to give Tony Berry $1, so we got it. All right,
but I'm also very cheap. I mean, so my lens is a little different. I'm very cheap, so I don't want to give nobody nothing.
Even if you're a billionaire, you don't want to come off money.
I don't even know what $1 billion look like.
So now you don't know what $1 billion looks like.
Maybe when I touch $1 billion, my feelings will be different. But as of right now,
yeah. And honestly, like I said, 10,000 is not a lot of money for somebody like her. It's not a lot. I mean, there's guys out here who probably they're not even rich, and they probably have to give more than $10,000 a month. To their child and their former spouse. So, we don't want Halle Berry to be out here being a deadbeat mom. So Halle Berry,
and she shouldn't.
Halle Berry, when I see you at the club as a 60-year-old, next time I see you at the club
with her boyfriend,
I may run up on y'all. She don't want you. She want me. So if I see y'all at the club, I may take Halle Berry away.
Now she wants you all of a sudden.
Because according to you, she like bums. And I'm not a bum, but compared to her, I'm a bum. So
I was about to say you're a bum now.
Yeah, I'm a bum now. So I'm gonna have Halle Berry and Tracy Ellis Ross on my roster. So
yeah, okay.
Right. I'm gonna have them both fighting over me. They're gonna be fighting over me.
Can't wait to come to the wedding.
Right. Yeah. Definitely Halle Berry, because she used to be getting married. Tracy Ellis Ross, nah, not so much. But yeah. Yeah. So yeah, do some more digging, figure out what club Halle Berry allegedly hangs at, because that's what she met this guy at the club. Because I'm gonna pull up.
Possibly. You never know.
She ain't meet him at the club. She probably met him at a
Trader Joe's.
Party. Halle Berry ain't in no Trader Joe's, because if she is, I'm gonna go figure out where the closest Trader Joe's that's me, and I'm gonna go over there right now with the same little black T-shirt and be walking around for some celebrities.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be in a produce aisle. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that was our last story. So please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. That's all we have today. Check out our TikTok page as well. We're on TikTok, so we gotta post a link. On our channel, because I know
we'll put it in the comments.
Yeah, we can actually attach it to the channel, so it's part of the description. So
even better.
We'll definitely add that. Yeah, we'll definitely add that, and so we will have this video out soon. So with that being said, thanks for watching. Our next video will be Wednesday, and we look forward to seeing you guys then. Thank you.